Hey everybody, I wanted to make this short video to talk about some common questions that I've been getting on Discord and to share with you my plan. In case you're not aware, Unreal Engine 5 just launched this morning. It is available. If you didn't know, you can now go to your launcher, restart it, and you should now see UE5 available and in your library. So the most important thing that I wanted to say was that yes, I do plan to update all of my assets to UE5 and I plan to continue to support them long term going forward. So everything right now is UE4. I will be working on upgrading all of my assets to UE5. You just have to have a bit of patience as I go through all of them. With that said, I am honestly exhausted. We've been working very, very hard for this past month. If you frequent Discord, you probably saw my message, and it's been a bit more quiet than usual. Working many nights, many weekends, some evenings, even logging off right at midnight, and literally trying to answer questions on my phone just before going to bed. But UE5 is here. I am super excited. And yeah, so that is that. So why am I telling you that is because I've decided to take next week off. I'm going to be on vacation, going to be traveling. It's going to be a way for me to take a little break. And when I'm back, I'll be hopefully recharged and ready to come back to game dev. So what does that mean? It just means that it will take a little bit longer to convert some of my assets to UE5. And it will also mean that it'll take me a bit longer to create the tutorials for the updates for my assets. So for example, PCG 1.1.2 was recently released, but there are no tutorials yet on the new features, and those are coming eventually, but I just haven't had time. So what is my plan for this week? I am currently working on the NPCM update, 1.2 update. As fast as I can, I am trying to see if I can submit it this week because there's a lot of interesting changes that have gone in there. And then once that is submitted, then we can work on UE5 portion of that. When I'm back from vacation the week after, then of course I'm going to be working on converting all of the other assets to UE5. ABK and PFT are probably the easiest ones to convert. I don't really anticipate a lot of changes between UE4 and UE5, but the arcade space shooter template, PCG, and the NPC manager, I do anticipate that I will have to make some changes there because we're going from PhysX to Chaos physics system, and that will require some special changes to the asset. So it's not going to be just as simple as opening up in UE5. I'll probably have to do some additional work. So yeah, the other question I wanted to address is, well, what happens now to my assets between the UE4 and UE5? I've been supporting a lot of versions of UE4. As a matter of fact, the oldest version of UE4 I support is 4.18. And you can see here that I have 187 gigs on my machine just of all these different versions of Unreal Engine because ABK supports 4.18 and above. So what's going to happen now with UE5? So this is something that I wanted to actually ask you guys. I have a very short survey that I'm going to link in the description of this video just because I want to understand what is your plan as far as UE5. Are you planning to migrate your current project to UE5? Yes or no? And would you migrate to UE5 if it meant that you would get new features and updates from my assets? And maybe the most important one here, which support model would you prefer for future updates from all of my assets? Would you like me to try to keep feature parity between UE4 and UE5? That means more backwards compatibility, but maybe there's going to be a limit on what I can add. Or would you guys want me to take full advantage of UE5, obviously use all of the new features, but that means that the new updates will not be available in UE4? Meaning that let's say then the next update for PCG uses nanite world partition, and a bunch of other stuff that is specific for UE5, that obviously will not be updated in UE4. So UE4 would basically end at the current version that you guys have now, and all the other updates will be exclusively in UE5. Let me know what you think. This is kind of important now. I want to know what you guys think. I have a feeling that the vast majority of you will be moving to UE5 unless you're really stuck in your project. But I'm still curious. Maybe there is a significant portion of people that want me to keep feature parity, right? 3 questions, it'll take you a minute. If you could please just take 1 minute and fill it out. This is going to help me kind of plan how I want to deal with the UE4 and UE5 versions for myself. And I actually did something similar probably more than a year ago, where I asked, actually a lot more than a year ago, where I asked about different versions of UE4, and you can see that this is when 4.22 came out, just to figure out what versions I wanted to support. And basically half of the people said that they were already using the latest version. And then 30% of people were using the previous version. So the vast majority of people are using the current or just the previous version, point version. And again, similar question, would you update to a new version of UE if it meant updated features? Again, 80+% of people said yes. And again, similar question, which support model would you prefer? 75% of people would want me to use the latest version of UE4 if it meant better updates. So I have a feeling it's going to be similar, but again, UE5 and UE4 are completely different. So please help me with this so I can plan. And after that, of course, I will figure out how I want to proceed. And the last thing I wanted to share, it's not, I guess, not as important, but it's my plan for the procedural CD generator. Because I think that is the one that is most affected as far as Unreal Engine 5, right? So I actually did this survey a little while ago, got about 50 responses here, and I haven't shared this before, but I might as well share it now. Questions about, out of all of these features, what is your most requested feature for a future update? And the most requested feature was a pedestrian system with the NPC manager at 44%. And that is obviously in the works. The 1.2 update of NPCM, I would not say gets me to where I want to be, but it's about halfway there. The new update allows you to spawn POIs at runtime, which means that every single building in your city could potentially have NPCs. Every single floor of every building could potentially spawn their own POIs automatically and their own NPCs. That is already there. And once that update goes out, I'm going to make a tutorial. But what I haven't cracked yet is kind of the pedestrians on the sidewalks, etc. That I'm still not there yet. The other 30% said that they wanted full multiplayer support for all of the blueprints. So obviously the generation is in the editor, but there are things like the spawning and hiding of props, the proximity stuff. All of the runtime blueprints are not replicated. So it seems like the vast majority want me to do that and then go ahead and do the pedestrian system, with obviously 8% saying they want some kind of OSM data support, and only 6% wanting a vehicle traffic system. 12% is other. So there's a bunch of different responses here, like runtime generation, tunnels, etc. So with that said, obviously I'm using this for my plan. So if I share my Trello for PCG, right now my plan is the 1.1.2 update has just been released. You can see everything that was included there. When I'm back from vacation, what I'm going to do is simply port that same version to UE5, and that basically means replacing PhysX vehicles with Chaos vehicles. I'm going to have to fix the UI, which should be fairly easy, and fix any other bugs that are going to be inherent when just doing the UE4 to UE5 conversion. Then I'm going to have a smaller release, the 1.13 release, that is UE5 exclusive, where I'm actually going to look at specific UE5 features, like maybe I'll convert the buildings to nanite. I want to look at world partition and see if I can do spawning buildings by matching that world partition. Now that I have the spawning volumes, I'm going to have to figure out a way of programmatically matching those volumes to the grid. I would love to continue to work on the overpasses code, which is experimental, and I'll start investigating chaos destruction because of course we don't have apex destruction anymore. And then even farther, this is now a much bigger release, the 1.2 release. That is where those survey results are coming into play. Things like multiplayer support, better integration with MPCM, which is going to create the full pedestrian system. I like to significantly improve the sidewalks. I know a lot of people keep asking. I have some really good ideas, especially with UE5 and the geometry scripting stuff that is coming out with UE5. I think it's going to be a lot more feasible for me to generate sidewalks at runtime. And other things like support for building spawn options and the procedural building generator, etc. And then 1.3 and above, this is just basically things that I would like to take on at some point. Things like OSM is here because it was lower in the survey, for example. Runtime generation, I guess not as many people are interested in, but this is something that I'd like to add eventually. So yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. Hope we are clear with my plan. Thank you guys for your support. I really hope that you're excited that UE5 is here. I'm gonna wait myself probably a day before I download it on my personal machine. I'm sure the servers are getting hammered right now. If you are not aware, the Matrix City demo is actually out right now. You can download all of the buildings and the vehicles as well, and even the metahumans that they used separately if you want to, and kind of start exploring how everything works. If you get to migrate one of my assets to UE5 before I get to it and you find any bugs, please go ahead and message me on Discord. And yeah, if you haven't joined our Discord, I'm a lot more active there, so I'm going to leave a link in the description below. So come in if you haven't, say hi, give me some suggestions, let me know what you think about my plan. Again, please take a few minutes again to fill out this survey. It's going to help me kind of plan how I want to do support now that UE5 is out, and help me give you guys better support overall. All right, thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.